Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Zero Analyst. This is the project 10 of our 10 SQL project series. This is going to be a mini project based on a real problem statement and real data set. As you already know, I have recently launched SQL Mentor bot using which you can practice SQL problems. And if you submit correct answer within the given time, you get some points. If you submit incorrect answer, you get some negative points. So let's learn more about the project and then we will solve some key business problems with this real data set, which I'm going to include in the video descriptions. So this is called SQL Mentor. You can see this is the bot and different users are practicing. It's already live and you can see, let's say this is the users. This user has entered a correct answer, that's called Srinivas, and you can see he has earned 70 points. Okay, now you can see it also give a daily challenge and people submit and they earn some different points. So if I want to practice, I can just go ahead and send a maybe message something called SQL to get a new SQL question. So here you can see that it has given a question. So okay, now if I answer correctly, I will be getting positive point. If I answer incorrectly, I will be getting negative point. So the question, it says write a SQL query to find employees who earn more than their average salary of their department. Let's say I submit incorrect kind of solutions, which is going to be submit a test. Okay, so basically this is incorrect. I'm going to get some negative point. So you can see now I have got 10 negative points. So that means I have answered incorrectly. Okay, so this is how this bot is working. Now this project is going to be based on this user performance. When a user submit the answer, it is stored in the database. Now we are going to use that database to kind of solve key business problems. So let's go ahead and see the key business problems and then we will create the database. Then we're going to insert the data and then we will solve those problems. I'm going to include this data set and each and everything in the video descriptions. So let's go ahead and see the key business problems. So I have written down 5 key business problems which we are going to solve in this mini project. So first of all, the first problem, it says list all distinct users and their stats, return user name and total submissions and the points they earn. Okay, so this is the first simple business problem we have. The second business problem we have, which is called calculate the daily average point for each user. So for each users, we need to find out the daily average point. So what is their daily average points? Then it says find the top 3 users with the most positive response for each day. So for each day, there are so many users are practicing. For each day, we need to find out top 3 users who has submitted maximum positive, response, like the positive, kind of solutions. If you see the question number 4, it says find the top 5 users with the highest number of incorrect submissions. And the last question, which says find the top 10 performer for each week. So for each week, we need to find out the top 10 performer based on the highest points they earn. Now you can create some more questions based on the data set and you can solve the different problems and then you can include this in your project. You can also publish this project in your GitHub. So let's go ahead and first see the data set. So I have already extracted the data set from the database and I'm going to basically show you the data set. So this is the data set. Let me open in an Excel file. So here you can see we have the data set and we have ID, which is kind of the unique ID. Then we have user ID, then we have question ID, we have points. So if it is a positive point, that means you need to understand that this question was answered within time correctly. That's the reason it's a positive point. If it's a negative point, this question was answered incorrectly. This is a timestamp data that tells when this data was submitted, when this solution was submitted, and this is the user who has submitted this answer for this question 9. Okay, so that was by Nazir and you can see Nazir earned 60 points. So if you see second one, it was like by this user has got -10. That means this user has answered incorrectly for this question, which is called 7. Okay, so we're going to analyze this data. At the moment we have 650 number of rows which I have got in this last 1 week, and we're going to analyze this data which is called 650 rows. So first let's go ahead and create a table and then we're going to import this data and then we will start analyzing the data and we will solve the key business problems. Now for this you can use MySQL as well. You can use PostgreSQL. In both SQL it is going to work because we're going to use a very simple approach. So let's go ahead and use PostgreSQL. I'm going to use PostgreSQL for this. So first let's create a database called SQL Mentor. Now you can give any name. So I'm just going to give SQL Mentor and I'm just going to import the table creation query. Okay, so for that I would just go ahead and say import and I'm going to include this file in the video descriptions. So first let's go ahead and import this project file. And you can see this has a query which is called table creations. If I just execute it, it is going to create the table. Make sure that you are on the right database. Yes, I am. And you can see it has created the table. It's a simple 3 or 4 line code which created tables. We have user ID, which is the begin data types. We have ID, which is the primary key of this table. We have question ID. we have points, we have submitted timestamp, and then we have username, which is kind of the username. Okay, and at the moment we do not have the data, of course, because we have not imported the data. So first of all, we need to import the data. To import the data, I can just use in this database, I can go to this schemas, and I can go to this tables, and let's go ahead and right click on this table. If you don't see it, just refresh it once. You can see now we have the table. So right click here and click on import export, select import and select the file which I'm going to include, which is called CSV file. So just click on open and click on OK, and you can see it has imported successfully. We can verify it. If you just now run this query, you will see that it is going to give you the data. Okay, so you have user ID, you have ID, question ID, points, submitted, username. So each and everything is imported correctly. Okay, you can see the different users and their kind of submissions and their points. Okay, so we have total 650 submissions, I think, which is 649 submissions at the moment. Okay, so this is fine. Now let's go ahead and see how we can solve this problem. Let's start with the problem statement 1. So it's only one table, you don't have to do any join. So it's a very simple approach which you can solve all this question which I have included here. Okay, now if you want to include some more challenging questions, you can include it by yourself. Just to make it short video, I have kind of kept only 5 questions. So first problem, it says list all distinct users and their stats. Okay, so how do you get distinct users? First of all, if you want to see the distinct users, we have something called username. So let's see how many distinct users we have. So I can go ahead and first copy this question from here to here, and I would just go ahead and say my solutions, and let me just add some lines here. Okay, so here I'm just going to put the question number 1, that's going to be this line. Okay, and then we will see how to solve this problem. Okay, so first let's see how many distinct users have. Let's first see how all the distinct users. Okay, so further we can say select and from, which is table called, the user submission is the table name, and we just want to see the distinct user. So I can simply say distinct and the user name. Okay, so the column name is username. So if I just run this query, it's going to give all the distinct users. So at the moment we have 47 distinct users in our SQL bot. Okay, so these are the different users you can see, and the count shows 47. Even if you want to see the count, so outside you can simply use count, and inside it you can just put it here. So you have all the distinct users, which is 47. I have already shown you. Okay, now what do you need to find out here? It says list distinct users and their states. You just don't need the users, but you also need their stats, like the username you need, and the total submission you need, and the points they earn you need. Okay, now for this very simple approach which you can use, which is called group by. Okay, so what you can do is that we can simply go ahead and do a group by the user name. Okay, because username is going to give us the distinct, and then we would just go ahead and kind of count the total points, each and everything. Okay, whatever we need. So first let's go ahead and say what we are going to select is the username, and then we're going to select the different parameters. So let's first go ahead and see the entire tables, and in this table we have something called, which is called points. Okay, we would need for each users, we would need the username, number of submission, total submissions. Okay, we need the total submissions. So for that we can simply use a count of star, or you can use count of ID. Anything is going to work fine. Let's use ID, and as total submission. Okay, now for point you need to use the sum functions on this point. Okay, because this user may have a incorrect and may have a kind of correct submissions, right? So it's a sum of points as points earned. Okay, so this is fine. Now we would just go ahead and say group by 1, or you can simply use username if you're using MySQL. So I'm just going to use group by username. Okay, so let's run this query, and you will see for each user, for all this 47 user, you will see for each users their total submission and the point they have earned. Okay, so for this users, unfortunately he has not earned any point. It could be he has answered like few correct and few incorrect. That's the reason this point is showing 0. Okay, so what you can do is that we can do a order by here, maybe something called order by the username. Okay, so order by username, and then we would want to order by the total submissions. Okay, so that's going to be our total submissions. Okay, in descending. Let's go ahead and see who has submitted the highest number of question. Okay, so and what is their point? So we can analyze the data here right now. If you see it here, this is the user which is called Akaman, 7 Akaman, and total submissions it's 24. And if you see the point he has earned, which is 1720. I hope you remember, if you submit a correct answer for easy level questions, you get 60 points. If you submit it for medium level, you get 80 points. If you submit it for hard level, you get 120 points. And depending on like how soon you submit it, you get more points. Okay, so this is how the bot actually calculate the points. So if you see, this is the user who has kind of submitted, which is called 24. That's again, I don't think it's the highest, because here this is 24 and this is 39. So we would first want to see the data not by the username here, just the total submission in descending. Okay, so let's go ahead and see it now. Yes, so correct. So the highest submission that is done by this user, which is called Bhabin, and Bhabin total submission is 107, which is here you can see, and the point he has earned, which is called 4350. I think this is the top users. And the second submission is done by, which is called Harshvardhan, that is called 79, that is total 79 submissions, and the point he has earned, which is 3360. And third one is me, which is 51 submissions, point I have earned, which is called 4120. Okay, so you can see different users and the point they have earned and the total number of attempt and the total number of submission they have done. It could be correct or it could be incorrect. Okay, so this was a problem statement 1. Now let's see the problem statement 2. So the problem statement 2 says calculate the daily average point for each users. Okay, so for that we would just need to kind of say that calculate the daily average point for each users. Now we would need to find out the daily points. Okay, so for the daily points we would need to solve it in a different way. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and see the data again. Select everything from which is called user submission. So we have a timestamp data. Okay, now from here we first need to extract the each day. Okay, which is called, we need to find out each day. Once we find each day, then what we can do is that because see, calculate daily average point for each users. Okay, so then we would need to find out each user and their daily average point, what we need to find out, right? So for that we need to do a group by each day and the each users. Okay, so we need to do a group by which is called day and user. Okay, so what we have done is kind of same way we can do it. So I can go ahead and use the same query, and then I'm just going to see what are the columns I need to select it here. So here first of all, from this submit date I can get the day. Okay, so for that you can simply, if you're using MySQL, you can simply use the day functions. Okay, and if you're using something like this, which is called PostgreSQL, then you just need to use it different way. So let me first show it here. So I can go ahead and say extract day from this, which is called submitted at. Okay, this is the column name, which is called submitted at, and I can name it called day. Okay, next I would just need the username. Okay, let's first select this to column to see if this is working or not. Okay, you can see that for each day I have the day name here. Okay, so I have the day name here, and now I have the username and the day name. Cool. Now the thing is that this data may be for multiple months as well. So what I can do, instead of getting it daily points, we can, along with this daily point, we can also include the month number as well. Okay, for that either you can use the extract functions, or you can use something called more relevant functions, which is called toChar. And we can use a toChar on this submitted date, and we can use convert this submitted date into this format, like something like this, which is called dd and ymm. Okay, so that's going to be ddmm. So it's going to kind of make it in the day and the month format, and I can name it called day. Okay, or you can just give any name, whatever you want. So let's go ahead and see if this is working. So let's select it. Cool. Now I can see for 2610, because this bot was, I think it was launched on 25th of October. So 2610, and this is the users. Okay, so each and everything you can see it here. So this is what we needed. Now next what we need is that we would need to find out the daily average points. Okay, so instead of this sum of points, we would need the average here. So let's go ahead and comment it out, and we would say average point. Okay, and I'm just going to call daily points earned. Okay, so daily average points. Okay, so the daily average point is going to be like the total number of submission that user has done divided by, which is called the total point he has earned, okay, for it in each specific day. So this is fine. We can go ahead and say everything is fine. Now here we will need to do a group by first, which is called this, which is called the first, that's going to be this day. So I can just use 1 and kind of 2. So first I'm doing group by this, then I'm doing a group by this, and I missed a comma here, and then I got the daily points. Okay, so this is fine. If I just want to do an order by, I can do it, but for now let's go ahead and do it this way. So if you see it here, for each users, for each day, you will have their daily points. So at the moment we have 108 records, so this is the daily points. Okay, so for 511 you can see this is the daily points, and for this is the daily points. So for each users you would have a daily points here. Okay, we just needed to return this. We do not need to return like the order by, otherwise we can do a order by, but here I think we don't need any order by. So that's the reason we can simply return this way, or you can just do a order by the username, maybe if in case you want to see for each users and their kind of performance. So you can go ahead and say order by maybe, which is called username. Okay, so order by username, and I want to keep it ascending. So this is going to be, oops, this is going to give it more organized, I think. So for this user has a kind of submitted for last 5 days, and this user only for 2 days. So different users, and you can see their different daily average point. Now you need to understand this is the average point. So daily average point for some user, you can see it is in minus. So it is possible that they have submitted some positives and they have submitted some negative answer, which is like incorrect answer. That's the reason these points are in minus. Okay, so this was question number 2. Let's go and see the problem statement 3. Okay, so I'm just going to copy it here and let me put it here. It says find the top 3 users with the most positive submission for each day. Okay, now this is little bit different. So we need to find out the top 3 user with the most positive submission for each day. So for each day we need to find out 3 user who has done highest positive submissions, that means highest correct submissions. I would just go ahead and say instead of positive, correct submission for each day. Okay, so to solve it, what you can do is that we can simply go ahead and say here what you need to find out. Okay, so let's first see the data set. So it says select everything from user submissions. So here if you see, we have the data. So what do you need? We need to find out the top 3 user for each day based on the positive submission, based on the correct submission. So we need to find out first of all each day. Okay, each day, and then we need to find out the positive, or you can say most correct submission. Okay, so first of all, we need to find out for each user what is the number of positive submissions they have done for each day. Okay, so we can kind of somehow we can use this query only. Okay, but we would just need to do some modifications here. So let me just go ahead and see how we can do it. So we have each day here, which is kind of here, and now what you need to find out is that the positive answer that they have submitted. Okay, so here if you see this data, okay, we have these points, right? So for each users we will have points here. So here what I can do is that we can use a case statement. I think we can use a case statement, and we can go ahead and say that for each submissions, if so we can go ahead and, so here we can go ahead and use a case statement and to count like number of positive response. Okay, so what we can do is that we can go ahead and here and say that case, okay, when this points, okay, when this points is greater than 0, because if it is a greater than 0, that means it is a correct answer. Okay, if it is a greater than less than 0 or equals to 0, it's not a correct answer. Okay, but if it is a greater than 0, then what we will call it is called, then we would give it number called 1. Okay, else we can just say, else we can just say maybe 0. Okay, so this is fine. So we're saying when the points is greater than 0, we're giving 1, else we're saying 0. We would just need to end the case. So we would just go ahead and say end, and that's going to end the case. And I'm just going to kind of put this in a brackets, and outside it I'm just going to do a sum to count to sum all this number 1. Okay, because it's in the group by, so we would want to kind of see the total positive response. So here we are kind of checking all the positive response. I can just go ahead and say correct submission. So everything remains same. In each day we have the correct submissions now. So we will go ahead and select it here. Okay, so if you see each day and the correct submission for each users. Okay, now we have the data. We can do a order by the date to make it more organized. Okay, so for that, here you have this day, so you cannot do a order by this column, but for that you need to do some more. So now you have, which is called each day and the positive for, so now you have for each day and the correct submission for each users. For this user you can see for different days and the correct submission. For this user, one correct submission on this date, which is called 1st November. For this users, here two correct submission on the 2nd, and here 9 correct submissions on the 3rd. So this user has progress, you can see, and the 4th 2 correct submissions, and the 6th 4 correct submission, and this is a different users. So 2 and 5, this user has 0 correct submissions. Okay, so you can see for me it's like 3 correct submissions on this date, and different dates, and you can see different correct submissions. You can see it here for different users. Okay, so this was the purpose, and I think we have solved that purpose here. Okay, let's go ahead and now see the question number 4. So for question number, now I think now here we need to find out something else. It says find the top 3 users with the most positive submission for each day. So now we, for each day we only need the top 3. Okay, so here it doesn't end here. We would need to find out the top 3 of each day. Okay, so for that what you can do is that you can simply order by. Here you can do an order by this, which is called, I think, the correct submissions. Okay, and if you just run it, oops, order by, we already have the order by. So let's go ahead and do an order by here by this, which is called correct submissions. So let's go ahead and run it. So if you see, it's kind of, let me just do in descending orders. So we need to find out for each day 3 users with the highest correct submissions. Okay, so this is what we need to find out. So for that, what you need to do is that first we need to do kind of, what we are looking for is that for each day we need to find out 3 users with the highest correct submissions. That is what we need to do. Okay, so we will not use order by here. Instead of that, we would kind of go ahead and save this data in a subquery or CTE. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it in a CTE, because we're going to use a window functions called dense rank. Okay, so I'm just going to call it here, maybe call daily instead of day. It's just going to give some nice meaningful name, which is called daily. Okay, and I'm just going to call with daily submissions. Okay, S. So I'm just creating a CTE called daily submissions S, and I just need to put this in a parenthesis, and so that it works as a CTE. Okay, so this is going to create a table. Now using this table I can kind of do some more analysis. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is that I would just go ahead and select whatever things I need. Okay, so let's say I need the daily first of all, and then I would need the username. Okay, because now I can directly use this column's name directly. Okay, so correct submissions, and from where I'm getting all these things from this, which is called daily submissions. Okay, so let me just go ahead and run it. I will have the same data, but I can now use these columns and create a window functions here. Okay, because I need to look for daily 3 users with the highest number of submissions, which is correct submissions. Okay, so for that I would just go ahead and say dense rank here. Why I'm using dense rank? Because in each day there may be more than 3 users who will kind of submit correctly, and their kind of number of submission would be same. So we would select all those users who fall in the top 3 rank, okay, because this dense rank is not going to skip numbers. So we're going to say over partition by, and here we're going to say partition by what. So first of all, we need to do a partition by daily. So for each day we have different users and their correction, okay, and here we would just go and do order by, which is called this correct submissions in descending, okay, and I'm just going to call it rank, okay. So let me just run this query again. So I will just explain this partition what it is going to do, okay. So if you see it here, for each day it is going to kind of create a one partitions, okay. For that partition it's going to find out for, because if for that day we have all the users and their points, so for that specific day it is going to kind of find out all the distinct users and their correct submissions, and then it is going to do in the descending orders. So the highest correct submission user will get rank 1, the second highest is going to get rank 2. If there are two users who has the same highest number, they will get a rank, same rank, okay. So this is what it is going to do. So let's go ahead and run it. So for each day it will have a new ranking. So if you see it here, for this specific day, which is called 1st of November, for this day we have all these 5 users, and the rank 1 is given to the user who has entered the kind of correct points, which is going to be Anusha, and the correct submission is 2, okay. So she got rank kind of 1, okay. And in the second day, if you see, this is the second day records, and because this is the second partitions, okay, so here this user has entered 17 correct submissions, got rank 1, this is got rank 2, this is got rank 3. So we are only looking for top 3 rank for each day. So here these 3 users we are looking for. So here you see the interesting thing. So there are 2 users which are falling in the same rank because they have the same number of correct submissions, okay. And here also in the third category we have 2 users which are following the same. Again, unfortunately they are 0, but still it's kind of coming in the top 3 rank, okay. So what we are looking for is that for each day, so for each day we will be selecting kind of 3 users with the highest point, okay, highest rank. So for that, again we can use this rank column to filter it, but as we have directly created rank here, we cannot use a rank directly here. So I can use this in, I can store this in another CTE, okay, as I'm using CTE here, and then I would use that CTE to kind of solve to select all my problems. So here I don't have to use with, I can simply go ahead and say that users rank, give a nice name, new name, and now from this user rank I can select, I would just need to give a comma because I'm continuing from my first CTE from here. So here I would just go ahead and say what I'm looking for now is kind of these things, okay, daily, and I am looking for this username, then I'm looking for this correct submissions, okay, and I'm not looking for rank, so I would just go ahead and don't select the rank here, but I'm just going to use this rank to filter the data. So I would just go and say rank equals less than equals to 3, okay. So 3 is also included here. So every day I will have top 3 users here, it could be 3 or it could be 4, okay. Let's go ahead and see. Now we have 42 different users. For each day you can verify it. For this day you have these records, these are falling in the top 3 rank. For this day we have this top 3 users, for this day we have this top 3 users, okay. For every day you will have the top 3 users. For 27 you can see these are the top 3 users, okay, based on the highest correct submissions, okay. So this is how this is working, which is question number, I guess it was question number, let me see what this was, question number 3, okay. So this was question number 3. Let's go ahead and see the question number 4. It says find the top 5 users with the highest number of incorrect submissions, okay. We need to find out globally top 5 users with the highest number of incorrect submissions. So this is going to be again very easy, I would say. So we would just go ahead and use this simple group by, okay, and here it says find the top 5 users with the highest number of incorrect submissions, okay. So we have the, not daily, we don't have the daily at the moment, but we also don't need this xtake functions. For each users we would need to find out incorrect submissions, okay. So if it is incorrect submission, so this point must be what, less than 0, okay. Point must be less than, which is called, the point is less than 0, okay. If it is less than 0, then it is going to be incorrect. Okay, it can be less than 0, then only it is going to be incorrect, because in every time when you answer something incorrect, you get negative points. So if you see it here, I answered incorrectly, I got negative point. If I maybe show you some other users, so if somebody has answered anything incorrectly, they will be getting negative point. Okay, so maybe let me show you this one. You can see it here. Okay, this user has submitted solutions, it seems incorrect, so got 10 points, which is negative point. Okay, so here what I will do is that it says find the top 5 users with the highest number of incorrect submissions. Okay, so we would just go ahead and keep it here, and we would say case when the point is less than 0, then 1, else 0, and this is how we are going to count incorrect submissions. Okay, so let's go ahead and select it. Let's go, and I would just need to do a one group by here, because I only have one categorical column. Okay, so we have all the users and incorrect submissions that they have done. So what I need now is that I can simply go ahead and select the top 5, because we need to find out the top 5 users with the highest incorrect submissions. So I can directly use a limit 5. Okay, and I would just go ahead and say that order by here, order by this incorrect submissions descending. Okay, so we would first order by descending, so we select kind of the top 5 with the highest incorrect submissions. So if you see, highest incorrect submission is going to be this top 5, and this user has entered highest incorrect submissions. Okay, so we can simply go ahead and use a limit 5. But if there is a possibility that maybe 2 user has the same number of incorrect submissions, if you want to avoid that, then you can use a dense rank here. But I think for our case this is working fine, so we can use this simple limit. Let's go ahead and select, these are the top 5 user who has done this number of incorrect submission. Now if you want to see their correct submissions, then it is interesting, we can go ahead and just copy this, which is called their correct submissions once again. So again, we would just need to use one more case here, and here I can simply go ahead and see their correct submissions. So if I just now run it, I would have their incorrect submissions, and you can see their correct submission as well. Okay, and if you want to see the points they have earned, so for that you can simply go ahead and use one more kind of sum function here, sum of points. Okay, so this is going to be points earned. Okay, so because all these are aggregation functions, so you can kind of implement all these functions whatever you want to see. Okay, you can also make it more meaningful, like how many points they have earned for the correct submissions. Okay, so that is also possible. For that, what you just need to do is that we would just go ahead and say, let's say we want to also see how many points they have earned for the correct submissions. Okay, then we would see how many points they have earned for kind of how many points that is reduced because of incorrect submissions. Okay, so for that we would just need to make it a little bit more meaningful. So I would just go ahead and use this one only here, but I'm going to say when this points is kind of greater than 0, because I want to see the points they have earned for the correct submissions. So I'm saying when the point is greater than 0, then instead of 1 I would just go ahead and say kind of then points. Okay, so this is fine, else it is kind of 0. So incorrect point is going to be replaced by this 0, and you would go ahead and now see that correct submissions points earned. Okay, let's go ahead and make it a little bit more interesting, and let's go ahead and now see the points they have kind of points that is reduced because of incorrect submission. So for that I am just going to use this case, and I can use it here only. Okay, so here we would just go ahead and say, again too many cases it may be get confusion, it may can create confusions here, but you just need to understand the logic. It's just some case points, which is point when the point is less than 0, then we want a point here. Okay, else we want a 0. At the end we are just summing up all the negative points, and we can just go ahead and say incorrect submissions points. Okay, so let's go and let's run it and let's see. Cool, so I think we managed to do it. So here let's kind of see the answer. So we have each users and their incorrect submission, which is 50, correct submission which is 57. So incorrect submission point that is reduced for this user, you can see, which is 980 points this user has lost because of incorrect submission, which is total 50 incorrect submissions. And this user has done correct submission which is 57, and the point he earned for correct submission, which is, I think, correct submission point he has earned, which is called 5330. Okay, the points earned, which is kind of 4350. So I think some of the things are duplicates, but I hope you can I hope you have understood the logic. If you want to see for the entire, so we can just remove it and check for entire. So let's first check username, and here we would say incorrect submissions, number of incorrect submissions. This is going to give us number of correct submissions. Okay, this is going to give us kind of, which is called the incorrect submissions points, and this gives correct submissions point. Okay, and then this give correct submission points. So I think this one I just don't want to see. So this is called correct submissions point, and the total point, which is kind of here. I think this is kind of fine. Let's run it, and we will be able to see the entire kind of all the users and their kind of stats. Okay, I think this is a great stats which I can implement in the bots, so that every week maybe it can post something like this. Okay, so for this users we have already checked. Maybe let's check for this users. So for Pradeep, total incorrect submission 19 and correct submissions 26. He has lost 190 points again, which is much better, and correct submissions point he has earned, which is kind of 2370, and points he has earned, which is kind of 2180. This is the net point basically after reducing this negative marks. Okay, so you can see different users, and few users have just 0 correct submissions. Okay, and yeah, you can go through and you will be able to understand it more, and maybe you can bring some more insight. Okay, so that was question number 4. Now let's go ahead and solve our last question, which is going to be question number 5. So let's go ahead and see the question number 5 here, and I'm just going to say question number 5. Find the top 10 performer for each week. So for each week we need to find out the top 5 performer. So now here, instead of doing a group by the day name, we would need to do a group by the week name. Okay, we can implement in this logic only. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement it here. Okay, so I'm just going to save it in a kind of subquery, and then I'm going to use that subquery. Okay, so let's go ahead and say select everything from, which is called the below table, or maybe we can use a CT, or maybe subquery, anything is fine, from this query. Okay, so we will just put everything in a subquery here. Okay, let's go ahead and make in a subquery. So this has everything which we have discussed earlier. So select everything from, there is 2 from, we would just need to delete 1. Okay, so let's go and run it. So now we have kind of each users, the correct submissions, incorrect submissions, and correct submission point deducted, incorrect point deducted. So what you're looking for here is that find top 10 performer for each week. Okay, so we need to find out each week and their performance. Okay, top 5 performer is based on the total points that they earn. So basically we don't need everything, so we only need to know the total points they have earned. Okay, so for that we can just go ahead and kind of delete everything. We would just go ahead and say sum of points. Okay, as total points earned. Okay, so username and the total points earned, and we would just need to do group by username. If you're using MySQL, you will do a group by the username directly. Okay, so this is fine. We would now just need for each week, and we would need all of this thing. Okay, now if you're using MySQL, you can simply use a week before this date column, which is going to be submitted at. Okay, so here we are using Postgres, so we cannot use this, but we can simply use extract functions. We can say extract week from, which is called submitted at, okay, as week number. Okay, so let's go ahead and say I want to do a group by 1 and 2. Let's see if in case I get the results. User submissions at must appear in the group by. Yeah, we did this 1 and 2. Okay, so this is kind of causing issues. Let's remove it. Let's run it again. Okay, fine. So you can see for now each week, so this week number is very interesting functions. It kind of check the week number from the starting. So the first week is the first week number 1, the second week is the week number 2, and so on, where in the October and the November. So you can see the week number is like near to 45 or 44. Okay, so for each week we have, what we have is that for each week we have different users and their points. Okay, now for each week we are only interested in the top 10 performer. Now I would just do a order by here to show you the data. So order by, let's say I want to do a order by the week, which is going to be week number. Okay, and maybe ascending, and then I would do a order by this total point in descending. Okay, so for this we would need to use a kind of window functions. Okay, so for, if you see, for week number 43 was our first week, we only had a kind of the 5 users in the first week, the launch week, and their points. Okay, so these are the top 5 users, I would say. Again, the only 5 users we had. But if you see, this is the second week, which is 44. So we have so many users in the second week, and we are only interested into the top 10 of the second week user based on the highest point. Okay, if you see in the next week, which is 45 week, these are the top 10. Okay, and their points. So here we would simply use a dense rank, again the same logic which I discussed earlier, and that's how we would be getting that. Okay, so we would just go ahead and say that here we're going to say top 5. Let's go ahead and say dense rank, and we would just go ahead and say over, and we're going to say partition by, which is called what, partition by week number. Okay, now you cannot use this alias here, so I can just use this extract functions here directly, and I would say order by, I'm doing order by this total points. So based on this total points, I'm giving the ranking in descending, and I'm just going to call it as a rank. Okay, so this is fine. Let's go ahead and run this query. Let's go ahead and say here order by column total points does not exist. Okay, okay, fine. So I cannot use this alias as well. I can only use this direct formula. Okay, because it's not the actual column. That's the reason it did not work that time. Cool. Now you can see here for each week we have the ranking system. So this is our first week, we only had 5 users and their ranking. This is the second week. In the second week we have so many users, and you can see the rank goes up to kind of 24. So we are only interested to top 10. Okay, here also it goes up to kind of 21. So we're only interested to top 10. So this is the reason I have used this subquery here. I would just go ahead and say where rank equals, which is called top 10, right, less than equals to 10. That's how I would be selecting all the user who has a rank under 10 for each week. So for each week we will have now 10 users. So first week only we had kind of 3, that's okay, but the second week we had so many, so we have all this top 10 users. So this is the top 1 users, this is the second, this is third, and different users and their ranking you can see. And this is how we have solved this problem as well. Now you can explore the dataset and you can bring more insight from the dataset, try to create some more problem by yourself, and then you can solve it, and you can at the end you can publish this project in your GitHub. If you need any help with anything, you can let me know in the comment box so that I can help you and guide you further. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end, and I will see you in the next video. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and stay consistent. Have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.